Hey, I'm back. I'm gonna see if I can spend a couple hours and get at least a little progress made before heading up and editing some video. I think it's important to do this as daily as I can. So let's see what we can build today. The instructions have you notching out these ribs. They don't say why, but what position am I in to question them. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. They are pretty careful to note to make a left and a right rib, and I've already discussed that's not a problem. I want to have is two lefts, or two rights. So I've drawn some orientation arrows and double check that I've made one of each, and we'll just go ahead and get it cut. Just hitting these with the file now. We got the notches out. This one still needs to be cleaned up quite a bit, but the same idea as with everything else. No hard corners, no burrs, no sharp angles, no scratches, no gouges. It's got to be clean. So we're getting it there. I'll have it there in a couple minutes. It's starting to look like an airplane structure, which is exciting. I think pretty quick here we're going to get out one of the skins and start to see how that fits onto all this. This seems incredibly premature, but okay. So 45 minutes later, I'm still drilling on the same section. It took quite a bit of time away to try and figure out a suspected typo. Got it figured out, is indeed a typo, or at least an omission. But just about to finish it up. Trying really hard not to complain right now. Largely what I get to look forward to for the whole plane. Put it together, take it apart, put it together, take it apart, put it together, take it apart. So, time to clean everything up and do all over again for right now. While deburring, I noticed there's a couple of holes that didn't get match drilled from this doubler bracket through. So had to drill those. Now I'll have to re-deburr just those holes, not a big deal. I'm just happy I found it now rather than after I primed it, trying to rivet everything together. just about ready to dimple the skins, but something I didn't do when I was building the tables and the shelves was build a surround for the dimpler. So you can imagine a part is going to want to hang here. I just got to build something to kind of keep it level with this dimpling surface. So I'll do that, then I'll get back to the plane. Okay, well, that was a fun distraction. I don't know. This was really quick, but it'll do the job. It's going to support parts as we dimple. You can store tools under it. Only problem is I do have to have both the tables next to each other because of the length of this thing and these legs right out front. Oh well. So in a bit here, I'm going to start dimpling the skins. As I mentioned before, we've got various tools for dimpling. The squeezer, the pneumatic squeezer, is going to be great for getting into ribs and stuff, whereas this big guy that I made the stand for is better for sheets, where I can go along and quickly just zip in a line of dimples. The only thing is I gotta be really careful to make sure all the dimples are the right size, that things that aren't supposed to be dimpled don't get dimpled and vice versa. And so I'll be studying the plans a lot and double checking before I go making all those dimples. Here's a look at the same part before dimpling, after dimpling, and just as a close-up you can really see these are the aptly named dimples. This is the, again, before part with no dimples. And so this little dish here, or dimple, is where those flathead countersunk rivets will stick, so that they don't stick up into the airflow across the airframe. There's a fiberglass fairing that goes through here, and the plans and instructions want me to leave some 10 holes blank on this to screw that piece in. Do we really want 10 holes, 10 screws attaching that on the stabilizer itself? Because in combination with the other screws, you wind up with some 24 screws attaching that fairing, which most people agree is too much. So I've had to kind of decide how I want to approach that in the future now. the skin's dimpled. Now there's a bit of a piece of this that needs to be cut out. It's called out on the plans, it's not called out in the instructions, but I have it on good authority that it does need to go. So I'm just gonna get that trim before we prime. Also before we prime, I have to deburr all this, and now I hear all 13 viewers at home screaming, "Deburr, haven't you been doing that for the last 2 days?" And yes, I have. But there's more. It's all around the edges. They all need to be deburred and finished. And so it's probably a couple hours of that. Then we'll get to clean. Then we'll get to prime. So I've finished, I think, deburring everything, and I'm going to cut a lot of it out because even in time-lapse that's got to be miserable. It's been a couple days of doing it, but I think we're there. So now I'm going to clean up the shop, and then we'll clean the parts with pre-coat and go spray them in the booth. Hey, try not to peek at any of this stuff. You'll ruin a future episode. Here's the deal. I'm going to have to cut this one here. I was hoping to get the rest of the horizontal stabilizer in one video, but there's just too much stuff and I don't want to skip it. So we're going to do this in 2 parts, this one ending now, and within a few hours we'll have the second part up and you can watch me finish this part out. In the meantime, go ahead and like and subscribe and check out some of my other videos.